Scientific non-predictive palmistry or hand analysis. I call myself a professional hand analyst. There are two parts that we look at in a complete hand reading. And so we're going to look at those lines in the palm. This is a map of your major neural pathways, what's going on up here.
I'm Jenna Blackard.
And I'm Leonka Reyna.
Ain't it fun having friends that support the elitist dreamer in you?
This podcast is for the way too much unrealistic seeker.
This is the Hout Hustle Mystic Morning Show. Today we are talking with Orna Walters, and she is going to decode our heart archetypes. And we've got some gossipy juice from a 19-year-old to start off our show today.
First, I just want to say thank you to both of you. It's such a pleasure and an honor to be here with you both today.
We're excited to have you, and I can't even wait to find out what we're going to jump into.
I have known Orna since 2008. I met her on Facebook. She had done a hand analyst session and they talked about it in something that used to be called the Daily Candy. And it was up and I was interested and I said, hey, I'm thinking about starting this talk show. And can I interview you? And so it seemed like
me. You sourced me on Facebook.
I sourced you.
I love that.
And the conversation started there and she's like, well, I don't know, but I'll probably call you back.
Oh my gosh, how funny.
Yeah, I said I had to think about it. I had just been to this huge event, the CEO space. Actually did end up playing a big part of my life and evolution, but I had just spent my first week at CEO space and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. And you called right after it. And so I was like, I don't know what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
And I said, let me think about it. I'll get back to you. And I think you thought you wouldn't hear from me again. And I think less than a week, like 5-6 days later, I called you and you were like, oh my gosh, you got back to me.
Yeah. And we talked on the phone for like 2 hours. And then we actually became friends. We just yapped and yapped and yapped and we still just yap and yap and yap.
Yeah. About, like how close y'all are now. You're like staying here. Y'all about to go to the beach house. Like that's so fun.
Yeah.
How we can just gravitate to our people. I believe it's our soul people.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I want to start off today with the drama and the trauma of what happened last night. So my daughter, as we've shared on the show, she has this boyfriend that she's dated on and off since she was about 15 and a half. She's 19 now, 19 and a half. And he on Saturday tried to break up with her.
Okay.
Yeah, let's call it a pussy breakup.
Like basically like, honey, I have this new promotion and I'm going to now be working at my job from 3 p.m. to 3 a.m.
Okay.
And we're not going to have any time together, but I don't want you to shut the door on me.
Of course. Because he wants her as a supply.
Right.
Go ahead.
Wants to keep her on the line.
Right.
I got a new supply.
And they used to have that tracking app, Life 360, that he already found a reason for it to not work and for her to delete it.
Oh, God.
So sign one. I mean, we don't have to go through all the signs because there's so many signs that like led up to me going, he's cheating on you. And he's just trying to, break up with you and make you hate him and make you go away. And this was early in the week, the last 5 days.
Until he flipped it, didn't he?
And then then last night, not last night, the night before at 1 a.m., a 13-year-old, which is in their friend circle.
He needed an excuse.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He needed an excuse to make it clear because she wasn't clear on what was going on.
So she was talking to this 13-year-old and there was gossip that the dad said that they broke up and she's like, what? We haven't broken up.
Yeah, his dad. Let's make it clear.
Jose's dad. So then the long story short was he made her so wrong last night for saying one simple thing and then said she ruined his life and that he never wants to see her again. And if she gets anywhere near him, he's going to put a restraining order on her. And she's kind of like thinking that she's so wrong.
Yeah.
And she, she's like, yes, I did let a secret slip. but you shouldn't have told me a secret if you didn't want me to let the secret slip.
And
No,
really,
I
he's at
know.
that
It was just
age,
like, he's like, perfect.
Yeah.
Now I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
actually
Yeah,
make
yeah.
a clean break
Yeah.
and make her wrong.
Yep.
And it just hurt my heart so bad.
He would have found anything else to make her wrong about. Like,
Yeah.
I have been there. I've been the one that's been in the exact same position. I've done the crying and like, oh my gosh, can you, well, you know, whatever it was. But what I had to realize is that, you know, he's at that age group. He's wanting to do his own thing. It really isn't about her. And I feel so bad that
I know.
she's really taking on the shame
I
for that.
know.
As a lot
And
of me and my friends
you
have
know,
done
and
at that age.
he was always like, trust me, trust me, trust me. And I think if somebody like tries to prove to you that they need to be trusted, maybe you shouldn't trust everything they say. What is your advice as a dating coach?
I just want to say, as a dating coach, but also as a woman who dates
Right.
men, that, you know, it took me a long time to realize that the guys that would say things like, I don't want to hurt you,
Yeah.
will hurt me.
Yeah.
100%. 100% of the time, if they say, I don't want to hurt you, they're going to do it. And the same with the trust issue. Why does that keep coming up if he's not trustworthy?
Right.
Because if you're trustworthy, then you don't have to keep talking about
Right.
that. But I mean, look, getting your heart broken is a rite of passage, just like having first love is a rite of passage.
Yeah.
And it's not something I would say to Julia at 19 with her first heartbreak fresh. I wouldn't say to her, look, when your heart breaks, it breaks open to hold more love. But I know most of the listeners here are not a teenager, and you can probably look back through your own experiences and see that those big heartbreak moments actually did expand your heart rather than close it off. Because when your heart breaks, it's actually like, you know, like on the Grinch at the end when his the heart meter and like it breaks the whole meter, right?
Yeah.
And so the earlier you can kind of have that first heartbreak, I honestly think is the better. Right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
And, you know, once we go through that rite of passage, because when we have disappointment, when we have challenges, we build resilience. And remember, your heart is a muscle. And so what do we go to the gym for to build muscle?
Right.
Yes,
Resistance.
work it.
Yeah.
You got to work it. And so that first heartbreak is the hardest one to get over. Absolutely. My heart does hurt for Julia in this heartbreak. I mean, I've known her, since she was like 6 or something.
I know.
And so, this tender, and she's so sweet. And, you know, it is hard to get over first love, but she has great parents that love her. She's got an older brother who's engaged, who's with a wonderful woman and who models, you know, she has a number of couples around her that model a healthy relationship and a healthy dynamic. And she is going to find her more solid foundation on the other side of this breakup.
Yeah.
Because she has great mentors in love and life. And that the only way that you are successful at anything in life is to build that resilience and to know that you can come out the other side. Right? What is he? He's going to be better, faster, stronger.
Yeah.
Right. But that's how we build resilience.
You're right.
And I think a lot of times, you know, to your credit and to Joe's credit, you know, that you are allowing her to have her feelings, which is important. And a lot of times parents want to sort of navigate things so their children don't feel disappointment. And it's like, that's trouble because they're going to be disappointed in life. Like we live in this world full of polarity. We've got good, bad, up, down, left, right, black, white. And so the more that we understand that we can make it through challenges, the more resilient we are, the more we can move towards success in whatever it is that we want to do in life. Because we're going to have setbacks. We're going to have challenges, and life will always throw you curveballs.
Dang it. It says this will be great experience for her to grow from, and it's still sad though. But
she's going to have a couple hard weeks because she was like last night, I can't see myself with it.
But she doesn't even have to try to do that yet.
I
don't think he's done. I think he will circle back again. And it'll be
worse.
When it's finally the nail in the coffin, that it'll probably be her that says, I'm not taking you back.
Again.
And
I agree.
so, maybe I'm wrong, but my gut instinct, because he's done this a few times.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, however he's done it, doesn't do it well. He doesn't do it respectfully. There's a respectful way to end a relationship. But, you know, you brought up this feeling of shame because he's making her bad and wrong in order to initiate the breakup. And it makes me mad because here's a guy trying to lessen his actions and his own guilt by making her bad and wrong.
And that's a common theme.
Right. Yeah. Because I'm so tired of women taking on the shame of a man's actions.
You said that.
And myself, I am a survivor of domestic violence. And I always say, I will share anytime somebody wants me to share about my own experience as a survivor of domestic violence, because so many women don't even want to.
They just want to hide it.
Want to hide it because shame lives in the dark. And so whatever you've been through, share it with people, whatever challenges, whatever's happened to you. Remember, shame is like a cockroach. It thrives in the dark. And when you turn on the bright light and share your own experience, it, like a cockroach, the shame will run away.
Yeah.
It will scurry away as fast as you can. So you want to shine a bright spotlight. And it doesn't mean that there is no such thing as a perfect person. I think sometimes we think, oh gosh, I made a mistake. Like Julia's feeling like she made a mistake in sharing this thing.
Yeah.
So what? We all make mistakes. Having integrity doesn't mean that we don't make mistakes. Having integrity is how you behave when you make a mistake.
Yeah.
And so coming out the other side, she has some tools, and hopefully we'll give everybody some tools today so that they don't have to walk around with a guarded heart, but instead really understand their heart on a deeper level.
Do you have advice for some of the people that do have that shame and is living with that shame, like how to release it, transform it, change it? That
is a really good question. And again, share it. You don't have to share it publicly, but maybe start sharing with people.
Even journaling helps.
First in your inner circle.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I would say, there's something about our emotional state that when we suppress it, it's like a volcano, right? It's like all the pressure starts to build, like a pressure cooker. And so we shut it down as long as we can. And then poof, there's this volcano, this volcanic explosion, right?
Yeah.
And so I would say, like, speaking our feeling state allows that feeling to dissipate so that there's room for something else to come in. And so, working with people that are having a lot of heightened emotions, people usually come to us after a breakup. That's very common for people to come to us after a breakup. And I'm saying us because I work with my husband. If you don't know about me yet, I work with my beloved. And
they're an amazing team.
And so this idea, sometimes people don't want to label their feelings, but actually just speaking it out loud, just like, even if you're like going on a job interview and you walk into the room and you go, wow, look at, I'm a little bit nervous because I'm really interested in this position. And the minute you say I'm a little nervous, now you're more human. Now that person can connect with you. You called it out, and that nervousness has a place to go. It's like putting your hand into the other hand as a fist, make a fist, put it in your other hand. And if you're not expressing yourself, this is all that stuck energy. Right? The minute you let this hand down, whoosh, now that hand can move, and you can be in a place to let the energy move through you. Your feelings are appropriate. That's like a compass for yourself. It's telling you your current state. But they're not like the most important thing because they don't last. Right? But it's important to know what your state is. And so when you're able to just identify and speak how you feel, that energy whoosh goes. And so that's what I would suggest, talk with a trusted friend, talk with a few different trusted friends. And it's not like you have to share what you've been through, publicly or anything the way I have chosen to, but as a public figure, I think it's important. As a woman, I know that a lot of people that have met me in my life, I seem like a completely different person than who I was in my late 20s. And so when that event occurred and they'll say, oh my gosh, Orna, not you. How could that have happened to you? And I think here's the thing, like domestic violence and being in a toxic relationship or emotionally abusive relationship, these things don't discriminate in any culture, any religion, any tax bracket, it does not discriminate. But what I want our audience to understand today is that love doesn't discriminate either. It's available to everyone.
Well, let's dive into that.
Let's dive into decoding your heart archetype.
Okay. So I've been a hand analyst since the 90s.
I'm fascinated.
Let's talk about this because I thought that was like palmology. I think palmistry.
I didn't even know the difference.
So this is not like going to the carnival and coming in and saying, "Oh, this is your future."
Your future.
I do no future telling of any kind. And I will tell you that in the 90s, after this event, that had happened to me, I had gotten my hands read through somebody who studied the same as I studied, which is scientific non-predictive palmistry.
Love it.
And scientific non-predictive palmistry or hand analysis. I call myself a professional hand analyst. There are two parts that we look at in a complete hand reading. And so we're going to look at those lines in the palm.
So crazy cool.
This is a map of your major neural pathways, what's going on up here. So if you've ever gotten a paper cut, you know this is true because you get that tiny little thing and you're like,
Yes.
that hurts. That's because the signal from your hands to your brain, there's so many nerve endings here that little teeny paper cut is coming to your brain like, ow, ow, ow. It's a constant thing. And you might look down one day and see like you have this big bruise on your calf.
Yeah.
You're like, when did that even
I
happen?
just told my husband that the other day because I had this little thing that I think I had a spina right here, and it was so painful. Yet I could bump into tables, and I'm like, I have a gash on my leg.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
And so your calf, for example, isn't sending a constant signal.
Yeah.
There's a few places in the body that there are concentrated nerve endings: the mouth, the lip, the tongues, and the nose, and your genitals and your hands.
And your feet, right?
No, that's different.
Okay.
That's a whole other ball.
Okay, great.
I mean, I
Yeah.
could look it up.
Except that toe is not fun.
There's a diagram called, if you're really like want to have the science behind it, you can Google homunculus, and Google will help you spell it correctly. Homunculus, and I could see
That's
where the
actually
feet,
a word.
yeah, I could see where the feet land in the spectrum.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
if you Google homunculus, you'll end up with this little drawing of a troll-like man with a big giant nose, big lips, huge hands, and a big dick. So the most communication between your brain and your body is the hands. That's the
Okay.
top of the list, and then those other areas go down in descending order. So I'm sure the feet land somewhere
Uh-huh.
in that higher third,
Sure.
but
Right.
I'm just
Okay.
guessing because I didn't study feet.
Fabulous.
But so when I had my hands read, it was so profound because I know I'm a very complex person, and I am actually. I've read tens of thousands of hands now. My chart is still the most complicated.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I'm very complex when it looks at that. And that's one of the things that I love about hand analysis, because it's not just like, this or this. It gives this whole bigger picture. And so I studied hand analysis to read potential boyfriends, y'all. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
that was like my whole,
Like, let me see your hands on the first date.
And
you're like,
there weren't apps, but there was online dating. I remember when I was online dating and this guy really wanted to meet with me, but I didn't feel the connection. And I was like, no, I don't think so. And then he's like, is there anything I can do? And I said, yeah, we'll use Xerox each hand and fax them to me. And then I got his hands and I looked at them and I was like, still no. And I will tell you, it doesn't really work the way I had hoped, because there are certain things that I thought, oh, I don't want somebody that has this when I first studied hand analysis, and my husband has that.
Oh,
yeah.
It doesn't work that way because
okay.
you need that chemistry and spark and attraction, and you're not going to end up with somebody who's like you.
Yeah.
In relationships, that intoxicating first romance stage,
Yeah.
this is where the saying love is blind comes from.
Okay.
Because we start off in a relationship with this heightened state of thinking, oh my gosh, we're on the same page, we're of the same mind, we're like the same person, because you're blind. Because
Right.
you're blinded by all the chemicals. It is a chemical
Yeah.
high to connect with somebody like that. Most women also bond during sex, especially if you orgasm. So, there's this whole chemical thing that happens to you when you connect with somebody. And there's always the hangover from the romance stage is the power struggle stage. And I always say no couple skips the power struggle. And so what happens is people tend to lather, rinse, repeat these first two stages when there's actually 5 stages of relationship, because they're so disappointed that that person isn't just like them. So you will end up in a relationship with somebody who's not like you. Just like if you were to start a business today, you wouldn't want your C-suite, you wouldn't want your executives, you wouldn't want your board to be just like you. It would be very unlikely for your business to succeed. You need to have different strengths and weaknesses. And this goes back to nature because it's built into species survival. That you end up with somebody who actually isn't like you. And so the power struggle stage is that tricky thing where we go, wait a second, you're not who I thought you were going to be. And you're not just like me. And it literally is like a tug of war, right?
Now, can this help Leonka and I in our relationship together?
I was saying because we are very different in that way,
the same?
and we balance each other out for certain
I would
things.
say, but that's a good thing. But I don't think
Is that going to help? Okay.
And it's because it's not an intimate relationship.
Okay.
So even though you care for
It
each other,
is in a different way.
it's a different part of you, right? Because there's a mind thing going on. You're in a different energy when in a work situation versus in an intimate relationship setting. And so a heart archetype really is how you are with your heart.
Like with your love, like with your partner heart, like with your
In an intimate relationship.
heart. Got
Yeah,
it. Okay.
intimate heart.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
again, for at
Interesting.
creating love on purpose, Matthew and I end up getting a lot of people that struggle a lot in love. And so usually, because we have two hands, they have differing heart archetypes. And so
Right.
what I do want to start off talking about yours, Jenna, because
Okay.
I read your hands and we found your chart.
Yeah,
when I
so
did
we
the
knew
whole
that it was
reading.
different.
And so here's what I
Timeline
say.
jumping.
That's so wild.
Dragon timeline jumping.
Because
Okay, say that again. Say that again. So she in 2000.
We did
Eight.
2009
I think it was
and
early 2009.
and we also did 2013.
Sure.
Right.
And so now it's been over a decade.
Right.
Yeah.
So the lines in the palm are a map of your major neural pathways. So they have the potential to change, but they will not change if you don't change. So if you change over time, the lines will reflect the changes you've made. And so they don't change in a week or a month, or even maybe it could take years for them to change. But I've seen changes in my own hands,
Me
in my
too.
husband's hands, in
Me
our
too.
clients' hands. So your lines have the potential to change. The part that doesn't change are your fingerprints. And that's the other part we look at in a full hand analysis session.
Okay.
That's your soul's journey. And I could spend the rest of the hour talking about the fingerprints, because they're really cool.
Yeah.
But it does take into account how complex people can be. There isn't the one size fits all when it comes to your heart. The heart archetype defines, I would say, in a relationship, it's good to know what you need versus what you want. So what you need is not negotiable. That's like if you were going to buy a house and you're like, well, we need at least 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom.
Right.
Or maybe, I was going to say maybe, but there's that half bath thing, right? So maybe it's 2 bedrooms and at least 2 toilets.
Yeah. There you go.
That's a need.
Right.
So you don't need 2 full baths,
Right.
or however, whatever it is. But you
Right.
can be like, okay, this is what we absolutely need
Yes,
to
the
have
toilets,
if you're going to buy a place. Right?
Yeah.
And you're going to mortgage it and you're going to pay it off.
Yeah,
in 30
yeah.
years. This is what we need to have. And then you have a list of like extra things that are wants. So needs, not negotiable. Wants, totally negotiable. Now there's a lot of different things that can happen because you have 2 hands. You can have one type on one hand and one type on the other, which either could mean that you have an inner conflict, like you're fighting against yourself inside. You have like 2 parts of you that want differing or opposing, seemingly opposing things. Or you can send mixed messages like, come here, go away. And sometimes what happens is, for a lot of people that don't struggle in love, they have the same type and it's just pretty clean and easy. Jenith, your heart archetype is the nurturer. And the nurturer is the most commonly known as the woman from Venus, from John Gray, mega bestseller. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Not all women are from Venus.
Okay.
But Jenith is. And the book splits it by gender, not by heart archetype, because there are definitely men from Venus. I've had most of our male clients are actually men from Venus. So your need in your intimate relationship is to feel emotionally connected to your partner.
That would be true.
And that was not the same when I read you way back.
Something happened that was quite profound in that time too. Yeah.
So let's talk about the nurturer. So nurturer is attached to the water element. And so water takes the shape of its container. And so who you're in partnership with will affect how you show up, because you're watery. Right?
Yeah.
And so
we were just talking about
that.
water.
It's like water everywhere.
Yes. And then this is amazing. Go ahead. Sorry.
And so the nurturer is very nurturing of their partner and the people they love. And so whenever I see somebody who's a nurturer, I always question how nurturing they are of self, which I know is something you've worked on. And so I wonder if this is sort of more your sort of natural positioning to be the nurturer, and that earlier in life that something happened that you had sort of closed things off.
Yes.
Remember, these change if you change. And it can take years for your lines to change, but they do over time. And so the thing about the nurturer is, when I tell the nurturer, hey, you require emotional connection, they usually look at me like, duh, doesn't everybody need that? They don't fathom that somebody could need something else. So if you're the nurturer type, you have to understand you're probably not ending up with another nurturer. It's very rare to be with your same type in relationship. If you partner up later in life, it's possible, but it's not that common. But there are common combos. So the Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus book, the exact opposite of the nurture heart archetype is the hermit heart archetype. And if you've read the book, you're like, ding, 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 man cave, right? Because that's the way it's written in the book, that men need their downtime, they need their cave time. And so when we're looking at this bigger picture, it doesn't mean necessarily that you are with a hermit. I haven't looked at Joe's, actually. I did the other night, actually.
We found out that he was a flirt, but that was something else. I think.
That was something else. I know. My husband and I discovered that Joe's a flirt at the dinner table the other night. We were like, that's really interesting. You're a flirt. And I don't know if he totally related to it.
I don't know either.
He didn't really say one way or the other, and that's Joe. So
that's so funny.
But the nurturer, being nurturing of self is something when you are the nurturer, and if you're focused on giving to your partner, you can end up in the space of feeling like you're not getting back, like you're giving and giving and giving and you're not getting back. What I want you to understand is, like, not only is there this sense of wanting to nurture self, but the heart archetypes are also divided this way. They're divided between what we call you first and me first. And it's not that the you first are saintly and the me first are selfish. The me first type knows they have to take care of themselves first in order to then be of service and take care of people they love. So just like on the airplane, when you hear, if cabin pressure drops, masks will fall from the ceiling. You've heard it a million times, right?
Yeah.
If you're with someone who needs assistance, please put your own mask on first before you help someone else. Because if you can't breathe, you cannot help anyone else.
Yes.
And that's just, we know that, but in principle, right? Like, it's like all the most complex, most things in life sound simple, but they're difficult to implement, right? So for all the nurturers out there, I just want you to know, you must take care of yourself first, or you can end up in sacrifice. And I'll tell you, this is how you know that you're in sacrifice. It's because you start feeling angry and resentful in your relationships that your needs are not being met.
100% been
So here's the key.
I actually think Joe might be a nurturer too.
In my current relationship,
I mean,
I was there. And it wasn't till I had to really put myself first, really set my boundaries, and then own my own worth, that everything changed.
Yeah. So the thing about the nurturer is understanding that your partner probably needs something other than what you need.
Yeah.
And that if you're feeling emotionally disconnected from your partner, you have to ask for it, because there is not another person outside of you that is going to be able to be emotionally connected to you 24/7, 365. Like, there's no human that will be able to do that. So you have to say, hey, I feel disconnected. Can we connect? Like, what's going on with you? How do you feel today?
Yeah.
Or this is what's going on with me today. And I just wanted to have a little time together. Whatever it is that you get your need met. Sometimes you have to speak up and ask for it. I was in a relationship with a guy who wanted to marry me. And he asked me what kind of ring I wanted. And I was young and not that smart. And so I said, well, if you really loved me, you would know. I'm so embarrassed right now. Here's the thing: attraction and even deep love doesn't come with mind reading powers. You sometimes have to speak up and ask for what you need.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Kenneth, woman from Venus, nurture, both hands.
Okay.
Even in the time that I've known her.
We looked at it like a few days ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so now let's talk about a little bit more complex over here, Leonka.
So is it really that simple that for me that okay, so what
you require emotional connection. If you're not getting it, ask for it.
I bet your older one was probably a lot different and maybe not so that simple for me. I'm guessing. But you really have had this metamorphosis, like,
well, and I had like a heart block. My mom,
you said that.
Taught me to protect myself, hook, line, sinker from day one around men, because she was abused. And
I think I knew that.
Oh,
I think you've ever told me.
Oh, well, I can tell you the story later.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, so she was date raped. And so, and she literally, she was a virgin, and she was Christian, and she was marrying somebody in the ministry at the time. So it was a big, big deal. And she never told my dad.
Oh, wow. To
her death day.
Oh, wow.
Like, she lost her voice during ALS.
Right.
And she wrote it. This is the boy that date raped me when she was splitting our jewelry.
Oh my gosh. And she only shared that with you.
With me and Dries, my sister.
Wow.
So she kept that shame inside her
Yeah.
entire life. And some of that
Yes.
got
makes total
entrained
sense.
in me.
Yes.
Right?
To
Yeah.
look out
So
for
it
yourself and
wasn't
to guard your heart.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Wedding date 26, 27, where on our anniversary, and, I dropped the veil and I said, I've noticed that all my life I have kind of like, protected myself and said I would run, even like, it's like, you hurt me, I go.
Yeah.
And I
To
finally am
say
like,
that.
nope, not going anymore. I'm
Aw.
here.
Oh,
Like 100%.
I love that.
Right?
you
I-
like
I'm like
decided
I'm all in. Yep.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And
That's amazing. That's
and
a lot.
and so much has changed since then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
But it took time, but it was really that I just bought my mom's entrainments
Sure.
almost.
Sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
makes
wasn't
sense.
that
Does
I,
make sense.
I've
Yeah.
had a lot of hurt. I was hurt a little bit, but not like some of the stories and clients, it's like, wow.
Yeah, I've heard a lot.
Yeah. Sad. It's really sad.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Well, you're
And
welcome.
I didn't know that about your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, we met
I
when she
felt
was
like
still
maybe we
alive.
didn't bring, yeah.
All right. So on to Leonka.
Great.
We're going to switch over and stay with our heart archetype.
Okay.
So this I find really interesting that you have, let's start with your right hand. So
They don't match, right?
they don't match,
Your
No,
book
yeah.
is.
but they're not completely different.
And it's changed. It's completely
Oh, I'm
changed.
sure they changed. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I can't see what was. I'm only going to.
I'm like, this one
I'm
is
only
wavy.
gonna
And
look at
I
letters.
was noticing that the other day. I was like, that's so weird.
No, but
Anyway,
it's
go
not.
ahead.
That means you've changed.
Yes, that's
So if
true.
you change
I
for
didn't
the
know
better,
that until today, right now.
good, right? If you change for the better, it's good. Okay, so on the right hand, and so it doesn't matter which hand is dominant, right or left, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Your right hand is what you face out to the world, and your left hand is inside. When it comes to your heart, I tend to put a little bit more weight on the left where there's a split. So let's talk about the right hand because it's clean, and then I'll be able to talk about the left. So on
You
the-
already know
on
that
the-
about her.
On the right hand, I think this is the most misunderstood of all the heart archetypes. It's the one that we call the romantic idealist. The romantic idealist is attached to the air element, and air has an intellectual quality to it. And so we
Uh-huh.
say the romantic idealist is always thinking and thinking and thinking about their feelings. But the romantic idealist is not necessarily emotionally demonstrative, meaning they're not necessarily speaking what's going on with them. And so they're incredibly considerate of their partner. They're always thinking about their partner, but they don't let the partner know. And so they end up being very misunderstood.
Right.
And you'll be a very thoughtful partner. Like even if their
Yeah.
birthday was 3 months ago and you find the perfect gift, you'll buy it, hold on to it for 9 months to then give it to them on their birthday. Maybe sneak it in at Christmas or something.
Yeah.
Right. So you're there. So the romantic idealist is always an incredibly thoughtful partner, but has an issue in not speaking up.
Okay.
What you require, the romantic idealist, and we're going to give it, I'll do the split in a second. So let me not make it too complicated. Although you are complicated with your heart, and that's okay. That's just the way your heart is wired. Not from a judgment place, but just what is.
Sure.
Right? And so you require meaning because that it is sort of like your head and your heart sort of being mushed up together because
Okay.
the brain requires meaning.
Okay.
And that air
That
quality to the
reads.
romantic idealist means
Yeah.
that you require meaning. So it needs to be meaningful. For
Yeah.
you. So you'll make up reasons why you're attracted to somebody, why you're with somebody. And that doesn't mean it's a bad thing, right? I mean, in the beginning of a relationship, we all kind of do that. Slant things towards the positive, and then, somewhere between 3 and 9 months in, we start slanting things towards the negative. It's just the way our brain works because we're filling in the blanks all the time. But you'll sort of make it logical. Your brain wants to make it logical, like, oh, I'm with this person because X, Y, and Z, or I'm attracted to this person because, oh, my type is they're just my type. There's like this justifications for something that's more ephemeral than that. That's more energetic than that. That's more. There isn't like a logical. Remember, this big prefrontal cortex has limitations.
Yes.
It has to be linear and logical and binary. And for one thing, you don't require just one thing. So you're going to require meaning and something else. Drum roll, please.
Okay.
On the left hand, it's interesting. You're split. So I'm only going to talk about these two types with the two of you. Okay. It's split into the nurturer and the romantic idealist.
Okay.
So putting your two hands together, if each hand is 50%, you are 3/4, you're 75% romantic idealist, and like 25% the nurturer. So you also require emotional connection.
Okay.
Now, the thing about the nurturer is the nurturer can be emotionally demonstrative. So I think it's like a door that swings both ways. So you know what the kitchen door in a restaurant, it swings both ways.
Yeah.
You can walk through it, it'll open or close either
Yeah.
direction. So what would be great for you is to just take note about when you tend to clam up, not share what's going on with you, versus when you are readily able to speak up and say what's going on. And because the way to create emotional connection with another person is to speak how you feel.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yes.
so being able to do that, and also being able to be in that space of like, oh, so you have this, it's like air and water. It's almost like bubbly water.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. That also reads.
And so the interesting part is I don't have a me first between you. So there's the you first and the me first. Okay. So the you first, you are both you first. So there's no internal conflict. Because people who have two types, two different heart archetypes, and one is a you first and one is a me first, they're in this internal, like, I don't know what to do. Is it supposed to be me or them? What do I do? How does this work?
Yeah.
Because remember, in the beginning of a relationship, we tend to merge with a partner and think, there's all this euphoria going on, it's a chemical high. And we start to think that, oh, there aren't boundaries between us. Like, we're one and the same, and there's this merging that happens. And that can be very difficult to recover from when you hit the power struggle stage. Because again, no couple skips that power struggle. And the truth is, respectful love has a boundary. I love my husband, but it's not appropriate for me to do anything to you. I grew up in a home where I love you, man. I can do anything to you. I could even beat you and make fun of you and mock you in front of your friends.
Right.
Yeah.
Like my mom used to do. So I love you doesn't mean I can do anything. I love you with respect has limitations and boundaries.
Yeah.
So we don't really merge with another person. We complement one another. We complement one another. So that's the goal. So I'll tell you the other two types, since there isn't an example of them. The hermit type requires personal freedom. So if you know the Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus book, it's all in there. It's all there in the book. But you might be a woman from Mars. I remember walking into one of my niece's dorm room in college, and there was the book. And I was confused. So I pick it up and I said, "Are you reading this?" And she goes, "Oh, is it not good?" I go, "Oh my gosh, it's fabulous. But you're a woman from Mars because you require personal freedom." And she, "Oh, I've been so confused reading the book. I've been relating to what he says about the man, and I need my alone time." And I was like, "Yeah, you're a woman who needs cave time."
Gotcha.
So remember, it is a common combo. And then the other common combo in the heart archetypes, because it is common for the hermit to end up with the nurturer. That's just a common thing. So one requires emotional connection and the other requires personal freedom. That's my husband and I, by the way.
Yeah.
And sometimes people think, well, how are we both supposed to get this need met? And it's like, well, that's the dance of relationship. The beautiful dance of like, we need different things, but we come together in this beautiful, like, I like to think of it like a ballroom dance. You know what I mean? Where he's like my strong support, like the wing beneath my wings. I'm the leaves on the tree that to dance in the wind.
Yeah.
And so the other common combo, the type we haven't talked about yet, is the passionate. So the passionate is the fire element. And they require passion, right? So they require sexy sex. And it's got to be hot. And they have a hard time sometimes slowing the dating process down because they want to get to the goodies.
Yeah.
But the thing is remember, passion by its nature, it waxes and wanes like the moon, right? Its biggest erogenous zone is the space between your ears. So you're thinking about your partner. When you have passion as a need in your relationship, you have to expect it to have ebbs, to wax and wane, your desire for your partner. But it's up to you to start thinking about them in a way where they're appealing to you instead of just letting the annoyance of whatever they just did that annoy you. If there's a lot of love there, you've got to find a way to maneuver around that. So the hermit requires personal freedom. The passionate requires sexy sex. Hard passion.
Yeah.
The nurturer requires emotional connection,
Okay.
Mhm.
and the romantic idealist, the most misunderstood of all the types, requires meaning. It has to be meaningful. You would make a really bad slut. Actually, I didn't get to make a joke there.
I have.
It has to be
Kidding.
meaningful, though. It
Yeah.
has to be meaningful. It's
She
over with.
works on the meaningfulness and she stops clamming up when she needs to express.
Yes.
That'll change in her hands.
Or she might just feel more fulfilled in her
Okay.
relationship. If you're getting your needs met, it won't change. It just
Right.
means now you feel better maneuvering through your relationship. When we're single, like we said at the top, like with Julia, life is going to throw you curveballs. You're going to have the unexpected will happen. We'll always have challenges. It builds resilience and character. When we go through challenges as a couple, it can be challenging. We saw this with the pandemic, that these couples were on lockdown.
Yeah.
Suddenly they were spending every minute of every day together. And then there was this divorce rate that skyrocketed
that's right.
all the way into 2023 even.
Mhm.
And that's, I mean, I'd see on Facebook, name change, relationship status change, like,
So
oh my gosh,
true.
because people didn't have the skill,
Uh-huh.
right? Because we're told that love is this thing, like from the moment we pop out of the womb, we're told everything we want in life that we want, that we should get educated and have a skill
It's
set
so crazy.
and
to me.
practice. If we want to be good at anything, we should practice
Yeah.
at it. Except the most important
I
decision,
know.
the
I
most
know.
important thing of all,
Yeah.
That
who you
blows my
share your
mind.
life with
Yes.
will affect every
Every-
part of your life. And most people leave that up to a lottery ticket.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
And I take this very
Yeah.
seriously. Lottery
Yeah.
ticket loving, you know what I mean? That whole thing almost cost me my life. And so beware, if you leave this with anything today, everybody, if you can hear my voice right now, please beware of instant intimacy. There's no such thing as
Yeah.
instant intimacy. You're not going to know it's your person when you first look in their eyes or hear their voice or they do that thing you were hoping they do. That's just part of staying curious about them
Mhm.
to discover more, because it takes time to select a match to be your beloved partner for life. It
Mhm.
takes time. And so we always say, practice slow love. It doesn't mean to guard your heart. It means to stay open in curiosity so you discover over time. And if all you do through the dating process is just go along to get along, you're never going to find your ideal match, because your ideal match, you'll find your way through. I mean, Jenith, you know this story, but my husband and I, our first fight was over fresh figs. It was Black Friday, it was the Friday after Thanksgiving, and we had a fight over fresh figs. Flash forward to our wedding, when I was ordering our wedding cake, I said, well, I want fresh figs in our wedding cake. And Matthew and I made a decision. We wanted fresh figs as the filling in our wedding cake because we made it through that fight, which meant
Oh,
we
how
could make it
nice.
through future fights.
Cute.
Uh-huh.
Right? You know, people email me all the time. I hear from people all over the globe, like, oh, you're so lucky. You're so lucky you found Matthew. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we hear my story. I don't think luck had anything to do with
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
I don't think luck had anything to do with it. But when I decided I wanted to make having a great love
Yes.
relationship a
Yes.
priority, I started to study love.
And I was, because you're right. Like we see the Disney princesses. It never tells you the rest of the story. Yet I was trained to be like, I'm going to do good in school. I got to get good grades and go to a really great college. And then my career's got to look a certain way. And it did, right? All of the check boxes. But when it came to love, no one, not grandma, not anyone, certainly in my world, definitely not my mom, had anything to provide. And not that it's their fault, but it's just a societal like realm that nothing had anything to provide for me to let me know that this was going to be one of the biggest decisions of my entire life. Like it's going to affect everything. And even when you said I almost lost my life, I think that may not be somebody that's experiencing like domestic violence that's losing their life. But if you are suffering in a relationship that you just played the lotto on and it's not really working out, you could be losing your life. You could be slowly dying inside. You know what I'm saying?
Or even
Yeah.
someone like my
Yeah.
husband who grew up in like this, you know, quote unquote normal Midwestern family. you know,
Right.
but the youngest of 5, and the family dynamic was very well set. And because they don't talk about their feelings,
Yeah.
you know, they you know, the Walters family show, hi, if you're all listening, the Walters family shows love by teasing.
Yeah.
And so Matthew's the youngest of 5 kids.
Like to this day.
Yes, the
Yeah.
first
Oh,
time
both
I
sides.
went to meet Matthew's whole family,
Yeah.
he said, look, they're probably not going to, nobody's really going to talk to you that much because they don't know you well enough to make fun of you.
Yeah, it's so
Which is
true.
true. Nobody really talks to me that first
my
trip
family
back,
is.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, I go back now, they all make fun all the
Yeah,
time. But
it's-
here's this little boy, he's the youngest of
Yeah,
5,
yeah.
and they keep making fun of him. So Matthew grew up thinking something was wrong with him.
Yeah.
And so what did he end up doing later in life? He chased rejection because that
Yeah.
felt right. So the girl that was like,
Oh.
hey, you're
Yeah.
cute. He was like, what's wrong with you? And then the girl that was like, no, he was like, oh, come here, come here. It was like
Yeah.
catnip. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would chase the women that weren't interested in him
Yeah.
because that felt right.
Right. And that's kind of a man's MO when they're young like that, I think. Like they want to
Depends on
catch.
how their family, you know, I mean, there are a lot. I mean, you have a son, he's getting married.
Yeah, he's actually really grounded and
I
yeah, he did come off of the other train. I don't know.
But I'm just saying, like, we all learn about love in our family of origin, just like we learn how to walk and talk and do everything else. You know, walk, talk, and tie your shoes. Learn about love in our family of origin.
Yeah.
And it's not about necessarily the way, you know, parenting is the toughest job there is. I never
Yeah.
want to, you know, I mean, it's the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life. And it's really about a decision that we make as a small child. Growing up in a family, we make decisions about ourselves in love long before we know who we truly are
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
how the world works.
True.
Well, I want to take some caller questions.
Great.
I know that there are a few on here. I'm going to just start at the bottom, but if you have one that we haven't answered, or you have some on the YouTube chat, please, will you put it back in because I've kind of lost track of the feed this time. But the last one was from Paula, and she says, what are ways that these types show up in our hands?
Oh gosh, that's
That's
like
impossible to.
I can't really do it this way. I mean, it would be like a weekend class to show because heart, you know, there's so many different variations. And so deciding about where they are, they can be like, I literally was looking at the photographs that we took with a magnifying glass.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, again, thank you. It's a great question, but it's like I'd be teaching a class on how to read heart archetypes. And I don't want to give you a frivolous answer for something that's actually kind of complex because you have to look at certain things. So it isn't like
more than one thing.
there isn't like a delineation of like that I could just give you.
It's not like a line just fades away before it hits the end of your hand or something like that.
No, it's not. No, and I mean, then there's 4 types and they're all different. So, and then you need to look at other lines can intersect and create, you know, a false thing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I read my husband's hands like right before our first official date because he was scheduled to come to my office for a reading and I purposely scheduled him at the end of a Saturday. And so we ended up going out to dinner after his hand reading.
That's sweet.
But I looked at his hands and I was like, that didn't fit. Like I could tell he was masquerading as a nurturer when he's really the hermit. And so sure enough, like about 2 years later, they had completely gone back to hermit where they belonged. Because I knew they were fake. I'm like, oh, you're a fake nurturer right now. You know? So I mean, there's just so many different things, you know, because when you're in transition, and I think like you were saying that, like your hand, you notice that there have been changes. And so sometimes you just need to read a lot of hands to have the impetus to know, is this something that's starting to show up or is this something that's fading away?
Interesting.
I mean, there's just so many variations. So I don't want to lessen it by going, oh, it's either this or that and blah, blah, blah.
So I think that's the same answer for this gentleman who asked. So Caesar, hi Caesar. He says the M mark, does that have special mission, mean that I have a special mission on Earth?
Oh, the
So that's
M. Oh, I know people talk about that. I don't know that's not part of what I studied. I mean, it doesn't really, in my world, that doesn't have anything to do with anything.
So I
So
thought I would ask.
I appreciate the question. And
yeah.
I know I've had somebody ask me that in years, like a long time. So
Yeah.
I think I used to have a better answer than that's just not part of my world. I'm sorry. That doesn't, I mean, there are other.
You do have a mission here on Earth. Caesar already?
Yes,
Oh,
you
know.
absolutely have a
Yes,
mission on Earth,
yes.
and I will tell you it's decoded in your fingerprints. And I actually, that's not, we were talking about heart archetype specifically today, but life purpose and life lesson and your soul's journey are all in your fingerprints.
Love it.
And so that was the thing that really blew my mind when I first had my hands read.
Interesting.
And I've read a lot, I mean, literally tens of thousands of hands. I remember back in 2008 when we went through that big, what do they call it? The Great Recession, which was really a depression that nobody wanted to label that way. And it was like the year of the suits. because that was my business as a life coach, a
Oh, wow.
manifestation coach.
Yeah.
And so the suits all showed up in my office going, where's fulfillment? They're shoving their hands. Where is it? Where is it? I've had money. That didn't fulfill me. Where's fulfillment?
yes,
So
interesting.
fulfillment, when I talk about life purpose, your life
Mhm.
purpose is not an occupation. But in order for you to have fulfillment, your life purpose and your occupation must be in alignment
Yeah.
for you to have fulfillment.
Yeah.
So if you're just doing that sort of means to an end gig that you're married to, you're going to feel a little like, oh, this isn't really fulfilling me
I've
in
been
life.
there.
Yeah.
Me too. Why do you think I said it with a face like that? I did it too. That was before I realized I wanted a great love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So Dana asked, can you read hands with tattoos? Yes.
Absolutely, 100%. Many
Yeah.
times.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because it's
and
just a
henna
color,
and
not an
not-
actual indentation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, with the heart archetype, it's great because I can do that off a photograph because our cameras are the camera phones are so good these days.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's really
cool.
fun. But
Not
for-
faxing.
No, not faxing. But I mean, I will tell you, if on a good copier, if you make a scan, and then fax it, that sometimes works. But really, to do a complete reading, to do a whole hand analysis session, fingerprints and lines in the palm and everything, the whole shebang, I actually snail mail a ink kit where you
Love
make, you
that.
literally, I mean, I buy these ink kits
Yeah.
from the same supplier that supplies fingerprint kits to police
That's
stations.
really cool. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and there are these special wipes to get that ink off.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's water-based.
Add clearance.
It's not water-based and not water
Yeah.
soluble, so you can't get it off with soap and water.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
good ink.
That's a whole different kind of ink.
Yeah. Any other questions? Oh, you want to hear the offer? Okay. We can give you the
I love
offer.
that
We have an amazing community. They are really, really cool. And they're so non-judgmental, just really open-minded. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited that they're just so eager to learn.
All right, we'll go ahead and pull up the offer then.
I'd love to answer their questions too, if there's.
Was there another on the chat?
I feel
So-
badly that most of mine were like, I don't, like I want to be able to answer.
But there's so much too, like you said, it
We're
was
complex.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things I really love about why I studied hand analysis.
Yes.
Yes, I wanted to read potential boyfriends, but it really gave me an understanding of myself and my life
I know.
to where I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, there's something wrong with me, or
Yes.
I'm an alien, or any of those things.
And I am super, super interested. I like science a lot too. So having this being rooted
Somebody
in
said they
science.
were fingerprinted by the police and their fingerprints didn't show up. So I'm curious, I have a follow-up
Wow.
question. Was it with ink or was it on the computer where you rolled it on the
Oh,
computer
right.
screen? So I would say when I send out a ink kit, in the instructions, it says literally in bold, all capital, highlighted in the instructions, do not roll your fingerprint. That might work for a computer, but my eyes can't put that image into one image, and I need to see it as one image. I remember I was at the bank once
Look at
having to
that.
make a very large cash withdrawal as a prop for a film. And I didn't send somebody on my staff because I knew they don't really like to give that amount of cash out at a bank branch. But I had all the qualifications to pull the money out. And as a hand analyst, I thought it was funny because I think it's usually your right thumb at the bank now that they'll take. And they kept saying that they didn't have the right. They made me do it like 5 times or something. And I was laughing. It's like, your fingerprint is not at the end of your finger. It's not up here by the nail. It's actually the mound. So if you're looking at my hand, you need the whole like top flange from the knuckle up because it's like that mound. That's where your actual fingerprint is.
Right.
And so I actually need all of that to see it. And so, yeah, that rolling thing is really weird because I've been fingerprinted that way on a computer, for like the TSA pre-check. And I was like, this is fascinating. But my eyes, I'm not a computer. I have a human brain. Human brains.
So yeah, Paula said it was with ink.
We
Great.
have your package up. Why don't you take us through a little bit about how this works and what they'll receive?
Sure. So wanted to do something really special just
No.
for your community. This is actually you can think of it as a 2 for the price of 1. So it has a heart archetype session and it also includes a laser coaching. So it's a 2-session package. And you actually get both Matthew and I, even though Matthew isn't here. I know he would have been fun in the conversation, but
And we will link in their previous interview with us,
Yes.
which was a totally different conversation.
yeah, we had a very different conversation back then. So it was just in March, I think. Weren't we on in March?
Yeah,
I think so.
probably.
Anyway, so Matthew's kind of like
Yeah.
an honorary hand analyst at this point, and so I love his insights. And so both sessions are with both Matthew and myself,
Mhm.
and you get to sort of see how we weirdly kind of sort of coach like one person, but not exactly because we're different people.
Yeah.
So this is the heart archetype is where we're going to begin. It really is about getting clear on that separation between knowing what you need so you no longer go into sacrifice or you're no longer struggling. Let's say you have an inner conflict or you tend to send mixed messages, come here, go away. How can we find a way to resolve it? Are you somebody who, like Leonka, that has to work on speaking up and asking for what you need and not just keeping it all inside and being super
Yes.
considerate in
Yes,
your
which I
head,
did
but
for
not
a long
showing it,
time.
expressing it,
Yeah.
or even sharing that with somebody.
Yeah.
And here we've watched Jenith sort of her trajectory from when I first read her hands as somebody that was more closed off, that is now really in this place
I
of
love that.
nurturing and
and
being all
congruent.
in.
Yeah,
What is it? Your anniversary's coming up. How many years?
32.
32 years at the end of the week.
Congratulations, y'all.
Yeah,
End of next
Thursday.
week. So the heart archetype is something where you will be sending in photographs of a photograph of each hand. So we need that in order to schedule. So there might be a little bit of a delay, but basically you're getting two, for the price of one. Do you want to scroll down a little bit more? We made this a really special offer. So if your goal is to share your life with the love of your life, this is a really great session if you're somebody who's been struggling either in your current relationship and you're in partnership,
Mhm.
or maybe you just can't even find someone to date. Please don't think that, oh my gosh, I can't even get a date, so I don't need to do this right now. Remember, we talked about practicing love and practicing to be good at it. It is great to get this heart archetype if you're just not even dating at all, having trouble getting a date, or whatever the issue is. Because once you get clear on what you really need, you'll screen people differently than you were if you were just sort of like, well, let's just see how it goes, because you don't know what that is, right?
So will they kind of get a map on what they need to look for when they are dating?
It's more about knowing
Knowing
themselves
selves.
better,
Okay.
right? So it isn't about the
Yeah.
other person.
Yeah, what you shared with me is already eye-opening.
Yeah, so I would say transform dating into a powerful selection process. And if you're currently in a relationship, we can certainly help deepen your connection to your partner. And there's no limit on these. So I mean, if it's a 2-for-1, and if you wanted to use the laser coaching and your partner's up for it, we could do 2 heart archetypes, one for you and one for your partner. I'd be happy to offer it that way as well.
Oh, that's
Oh,
cool.
that'd be
If
cool.
you're not, though, I think for most people that kind of stuck around for this conversation, since I am a dating coach, the laser coaching session happens after the heart archetype, so that we can really start looking at mindset shifts, because what you believe is true for you.
Yeah.
And your limiting beliefs in love are very sticky, because remember, you probably have had those limiting beliefs since you were wee.
Mhm.
So you were just a little kid.
Mhm.
They're sticky, and we really work in that laser coaching session, and the focus is not on information, it's on transformation.
Yeah.
And so now you can take the information from your heart archetype, that diagnostic results, and then know how to implement more towards removing limiting beliefs and mindset shifts to really bring in a beloved life partner. And so that's why we partnered these 2 kinds of sessions.
So are these scheduled separate?
They're
so they could
scheduled
do
separately,
one
and
when you after
that's
they know
so
how to get their
awesome.
hands printed.
Yeah, it's
take
no
pictures of-
prints. We're just
pictures.
They're going to get an email from us that sends you to instructions on how to take good hand photos. And then once we receive your photos, you'll get the booking link to schedule in our calendar. Once we're done with the heart archetype session, then you'll get the link to schedule your laser coaching session. So they won't happen at the same time. And it's actually good, because that way, if you have more questions about your heart archetype, we're happy to answer them as well. So we always want to be there for follow-up, because we really take in a lot with people, and I want things to be clear. Sometimes those questions don't come to you in the moment. You hang up the phone, you're like, oh, 5 minutes later, I forgot to ask. So you'll get an opportunity to ask us the follow-up, and we'll get to move on to the next step.
Look, they've worked with thousands of people.
So
They've
awesome.
spoke on
Clearly.
large stages.
Clearly.
I mean, they
Yeah.
You guys
and
are
they have
sweet.
stories so many success stories.
Yeah.
There's a
Hopefully-
few testimonials in here, a couple
And frequently
frequent
asked
asked questions.
You know, it tells you how long each session is and what's the difference. And I mean, it really,
Yeah.
if you want some help really understanding, I mean, if you're someone that has struggled in love, I bet there's something in your heart archetype that isn't lining
Yeah.
up. It's either some kind of inner conflict or something that you're, you know, maybe you're masquerading like the way, you know, Matthew was when I first met him. I was like, fake nurturer.
And that helps him then understand, or anybody then understand, well, if I'm kind of faking and pretending this, maybe I really do need to come into my true archetype.
See what's current, and so
Yeah.
I can't see what's past, but
Yeah.
sometimes just it comes through. And if you wanted to do the little bit, if you go down to the end of my bio, it actually says a little bit about where we've been featured.
Yeah. And
So for
still
those who are
being
listening-
featured. They have a new book out that is in Penguin Random House.
Yeah, Division of Penguin Random House. If you wanted to know more about the work we do at Creating Love on Purpose, you can pick up our book anywhere and everywhere books are sold and in every format. So it's available on hardcover, ebook, or audiobook. And Matthew and I were hired to be narrators for the audiobook. We're with the Division of Penguin Random House. And I'll say, yes, are we on Amazon? Absolutely, you can get the book there. And if you are a book person and you like to read, please, please, please go into, and you like a hardcover book,
Sure.
go into a brick and mortar retail bookstore where you live and
yes.
support your local bookstore.
Yeah.
Indie bookstore or a Barnes and Noble. We walked into Barnes and Noble the other day.
And we found it. It
Yeah,
was like
so
just sitting there
fun.
right on the shelf. It was pretty.
Yeah, it was pretty
That's
cool.
so
It was
cool.
facing out. They
Mhm.
You
set
should
it
go to
facing
Book
out.
People. It's in
Yeah.
Austin. It's a small one. Book's really popular here.
So I just like, I'm a book person. The library
Oh, you
saved my
love it.
life in this really I grew up, as in
Yes.
case you couldn't tell, I grew up with chaos and abuse in my childhood home, and the library saved my life. And on some level, it's completely surreal that my name is on a book in the bookstore and in the library and
That's so
available. Most libraries are carrying it on ebook. You know, if that's something that you're an ebook person, you want to get it at the library, you can ask your local library to order the hardcover if you'd rather read it that way. The book is titled Getting It Right This Time. Getting It Right This Time.
And it'll be linked in all of the things
Yeah.
along with this offer.
And I'm also going to share the subtitle because we worked really hard on our book and title and subtitle and the whole book itself. And it's, the subtitle is Break Free from Your Hidden Blocks to Lasting Love, because that's
I
really
love
what
that.
we do at Creating Love on Purpose. And again, you know, if you're sending mixed messages, if you have two different types, that could be a very clear reason about why you've been struggling in love. And it's not unsolvable. You know, we've even had people show up where they have three types, and I would say, oh, it's like you need to be with a drummer, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you need all these things, right? And so it's really important to know the difference between what you need, because what most people do is they throw out what they need, trying to make the relationship work, right?
Yep.
And they end up getting angry and resentful. They're not getting what they need because they're getting some of the things they want. So it's backwards.
Yes.
And so you can stop doing relationship backwards by getting the heart archetype and getting clear. Oh, this is what I actually need. And then you can wiggle on the things that you want. You're probably not going to get all your wants. Remember, like buying a house, you're going to make sure to get your needs. And then, you know, you'll get some of your wants. I always say with the right match, you'll get your needs met the majority of the time. Like we talked about with the nurturer type, you're never going to be emotionally connected to somebody all 24/7, 360.
Sure.
But you're going to get your needs met most of the time, and you're going to be able to talk about them and what you need and evaluate the other person if they're a good match for you. And you get to a big chunk of your wants, right? A bunch of those should be included as well, just like when you buy a house.
Absolutely. Well,
Orna, this has been amazing. I mean, I can't even, clearly you know your work, and I mean, you speak it so well. Wouldn't you say if people are anywhere in their journey benefit from your special offer?
Oh,
No
absolutely.
matter where they are in
Yeah,
their
no matter
life?
where they are in their relationship status, if you're, you know, if you're in a relationship, if you've recently gotten out of a relationship,
Yeah.
if you haven't dated in ages, please come talk to us, because if you want to be with somebody, look, I'm not saying everybody has to partner up. There are all those people that are like, I'm just not doing that this time around, and that's cool. If you're somebody who longs to be with a beloved life partner, please let us help you do that. It is the most rewarding work on earth, but watching people really blossom and be able to let the right kind of love in so that it lasts and it's enduring. I never in a million years thought I would be able to say the words, I can count on my husband as sure as I know the sun will rise tomorrow. I really thought I was unlovable growing up in the family that I did. And I really want you to know love doesn't discriminate. So if you want it, then it might be one of those things like in school, there's a subject you struggle in and you need a tutor,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so come get tutored by us
love
if you
that.
think that this is, you know,
Yeah.
at least check it out because
Yeah.
Yeah.
we made it really easy for you to, you know, take us for a test drive.
Yeah. Or get the book.
Get the book,
Yeah.
get it right this time.
All right. Well, this has been fabulous. We've got a few announcements, I guess, going
before
forward.
before she does that, any parting words for anyone? Like I know that you kind of just said, I feel like you really just said that already.
So sweet. Parting words. I would say I'm just going to give my favorite quote because it really changed my life. It's featured in the Baz Luhrmann film Moulin Rouge, which I was completely obsessed with when it came out. And it's from a song called Nature Boy. And the quote is, "The greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return." Thank you both.
And Judith is right. We do have a couple of
Yeah,
announcements.
happy anniversary and appreciate those little comments that you guys have. Just a reminder, we have a live event coming this November 7th, 8th, and 9th. It is about really embodying some of these frequencies. There will be a lot of movement, hands-on work, and it will be kind of retreaty. If you're called to it, please email us at team@HowHustle. We'd love to have a conversation with you if you are on the fence, not sure if it's right for you. That link will be in the place where all words are, which is the YouTube chat, the chat for Zoom, and in the newsletter.
And if you're not signed up for our newsletter, be sure to get signed up. It's where we get all of our special offers. We give you special gifts, and you get to see what the new schedules are like and all of our upcoming events. So you can get that at www.howhustle.com, and you just put your first name and your email in there.
Just a reminder, we do stream this on YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Bye-bye, everyone.